And we are live. Good day, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever. Welcome to another episode. We're back. The panel, Brother David, Brother Robert, and I, Killian Weeks. We're here on my channel, Book of Killian, Killian Weeks on YouTube, and all that fun stuff. Getting to it. We're at chapter 10. Verse 1 of the book of Enoch, continuing on where we left off last week. And just go around the table, make sure everybody's doing well. Brother David, how are you, my friend, my brother?
Doing well, just working my way through theological concerns as usual.
Love it. Thank you so very much. Brother Robert, how are you?
Life is going well. I appreciate it. Shalom to you.
Shalom to you, brother. All right, so we agreed that we would pull back to verse 1 of chapter 10. So getting right into it, then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, spake and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech and said to him, oh, no, wait, did we say verse 10? We're going to go back
I think we were going to go back to like verse 10 because it was about halfway through that we started to speed up.
My bad. Yeah, good call. I apologize profusely. I started reading and I was like, wait a minute. Okay. So, verse 10, and no request that they, their fathers, make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers on their behalf, for they hope to live in eternal life, and that each of them will live 500 years. Yes, and this was the 500-year discussion that we broke out into because of even in like canon text, we haven't seen this period identified.
I was going to ask, did we talk about that after we had finished the podcast in like the back rooms there, or did we talk about that on video? I'm trying to remember if we did a longer conversation on that afterwards.
No, we were on video when we talked about it because we discussed the fact that 500 out of 7,000 years would be like 1/14th. And we talked about, I think, the life of Adam, I believe, briefly. His life.
Yeah. How long his was, and that 500 is by no means eternal.
Exactly.
Do you think eternal meant that they would be able to gain the life that Christ would later bring?
Because
their fathers, like, they're coming to get forgiveness, right? That's kind of what they tell Enoch is like, hey, we want God to let this go.
Yeah, that's I think so. From my standpoint, when I look at what they're trying to get back, I mean, they're trying to restore their salvation. They're trying to get back that eternal life. So I think that would be fair. But we all know that Enoch goes to plead on their behalf, and Father says no. Angels should be interceding on behalf of men, not men interceding on behalf of angels.
Yeah, which matches up with that verse in, is it 2 Peter, where it says that the elect will judge angels in that day?
Good one.
Which is an interesting thing because it's not man interceding for angels in that case. It's man saying, this is what they did and it was wrong.
Agreed. Brother Robert, anything? All right. Check it in. Go on to verse 11. And Lord said unto Michael, go bind Semyaza and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves with all them in all their uncleanness. Any gleamings anybody would like to share?
A first thought that I would ask is bind is a word that, correct me if I'm wrong, have we already talked about Azazel at this point? Yes. Okay, he was verse 8. Yep. So the question that I would ask is, when God binds something, is that bind eternal or not? And the other question I would ask is for those who have studied Rob and Adam Fink's work on CERN, where they talk about it, does, like a kind of an interesting thought there is, the possibility that CERN is trying to open up this wilderness and set free the fallen angels, is that even possible?
Yeah, so when you look at it from that standpoint, with respects to them potentially, like if you were to say, a particle is bound together and they're now attempting to unbind that particle, or unbind something that's bound, I'm willing to just say whatever happens happens, but there's definitely the observation of that word and then them attempting to undo something. Or is it smash things together? Yeah, no, because it's the
Yeah,
Halton
it's a
collider, isn't it?
collider. Yeah,
Yeah, so
particle
it's
collider.
smashing things together to make it. So yeah, I brother, I don't know, not entirely sure.
It's an interesting subject, though, if you ever watch the dedication ceremony for that building, because that's probably one of the most occult things I've ever seen. And there's an interesting observation that there's this focus on kind of an unseen reality that they keep talking about trying to tap into, and that it's a possibility that there's dimensional life and all that. And I'm like, well, theoretically, life that exists in a different dimension would probably be, since I don't believe there are a billion dimensions or anything, the only thing I could think of is the spiritual plane, so to speak, if that exists. In which case, what would they be contacting? Because God's not going to have his holy angels be the thing they're contacting, and they're definitely not trying to pray. So that limits the possibilities pretty severely there.
Sorry, brother. Yes, agreed. It's something that, like the potentiality, the outcomes that exist, once they start messing with the things that are outside of our understanding, I get scared.
Right. And I also get a little bit excited because it's kind of like, if you actually see fallen angels wreaking havoc on the world, maybe that would call many to belief. You can't easily deny that.
Agreed. It's showing the potentiality of something that exists, outside of what we understand to be. It's a scary thought, because that's where you don't know where you're going to head to, what you're going to end up with, and what's real or not at that point. Fact or fiction. But, okay. Sorry, I'm getting. So getting back into verse 12. So we were there. And when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, till the day of their judgment and of their consummation, till the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated.
So
Go ahead.
you were talking in our last conversation about the elves measurement, and how when you comprehend the vastness of that, just how ridiculous it is, and kind of boggles the mind. The interesting thing is, I believe this is stating that all of the first generation died. Is that correct?
That's how I read it. I mean, if the sons, so it's verse 11. Take this leader, take all his associates, and have them bound together. So in the first place, they all they're all bound. They like they're all in it, they're all lumped up. And then their sons have to slay each other. So definitely first generation.
Yeah, and they would have seen the destruction of their beloved ones. And this is where I got into the idea of, a generation being representative of 100 years, and 70 times 100 equaling 7,000, which would be like the absolute end, the end of the 7,000 years, or the end of the, well, basically we'd be heading into the last 1,000 years, the Jubilee, as we talked about last time.
Right.
In verse 13, in those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will be thenceforth be bound together with them to the end of all generations. So you got the doubling down at the end of all generations, which again I believe it's a 7,000 year mark, the changing 70 generations, if you will.
That makes sense.
All right, into verse 14. And destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end. And let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. Any gleamings?
Just the observation that the truth is what is getting noticed there.
Agreed. What I take a marker at, or with, if you will, is, or maybe even just an observation, as you said. In prior, it talked about the blood spilling upon the earth, and that being a cry up to the heavens, a testament, if you will, as to the suffering that's taking place. Then I look at the second half of this verse, of verse 14, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear. So I think a plant obviously growing from the ground, and that transpiring because of all of the wrong being destroyed off the face of the earth.
Makes sense. Though I'm not endorsing this quote, the quote that I immediately heard is, "The tree of liberty is watered with the blood of tyrants and patriots from time to time." I'm not at all comparing this to that. It's just the quote popped into my head because of the similar sounding language there.
Thank you, brother. And then you got obviously the marker at the beginning of the verse, and destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers. Shout out to brother Josh. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you so very much. And greetings, Sister Serena. Thank you so very much for joining us. Appreciate you, sister. Hey. Let's go. I love it. Thank you so very much for dropping in, family. Appreciate y'all. All right. So you got verse 15. And then shall all the righteous escape, and shall live till they begat thousands of children. And all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
So we always have this idea of righteousness, this law, thanks to the Father, being written upon our hearts, which actually could, with the veil being torn in two and us all being exposed to the Father directly through what the Son did on the cross that day. Sorry about the noise. We get exposed to Father Um, now, if in fact that was maybe part of what went down that day, we now have this opportunity to have the law written upon our heart, which is has I guess righteous would be the virtue. So, and then all the righteous escape. So those who are righteous go escape and shall live till they beget thousands of children. How does that verse hit for you guys, or that piece of the verse hit for you guys? Beget thousands of children.
I chuckle at the ones who believe that the kingdom is only spiritual, because I've had that debate with people where they're like,
Brother
well,
Robert?
there's not gonna be marriage in the kingdom. There's not gonna be children in the kingdom. And I'm like, well,
Brother
when
Dave?
does that take place? Oh, can you hear us?
All right.
Hello?
And all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. So I take that, the last 1,000 years, marker of on the seventh day he rested, 1,000 years of jubilation. This is where I believe we're heading to.
Brother
Verse
Killian, can you hear
16.
me?
And then
Hello?
shall be, and then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all the planted with trees and be full of blessing. So double back on that. And then shall the whole earth be tilled in righteousness, and shall all be planted with trees and be full of blessing. Hey, Brother David.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Okay. So Serena
Huh?
can hear me.
That's weird.
Robert, can you hear me?
Oh, jeez. I'm the worst. Guys, sorry. My headphone jack had fallen out of the mic, so I was talking and I heard nobody. How is that for a fail?
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay,
not
that makes
you,
more
it's me.
sense. I was wondering, I was like, did I lose audio?
Oh my gosh. Talk about a kerfuffle. Brother, I'm so very sorry.
No, it's fine. I just wanted to make sure that it was actually working.
Yep. That is straight. Okay, so where were you starting to talk versus where I dropped into my lonesome room?
The thousands of children.
Yes.
I was just commenting. A lot of people say the kingdom is only spiritual, which comes from this concept that when you die, you immediately go to heaven or you immediately go to hell, which is more of the Catholic concept of the afterlife rather than the Hebraic one. And the idea that this cannot be referring to during a human lifespan, because you can't beget thousands of children in a normal lifespan, so it has to be post-resurrection. But a lot of people say there's not going to be marriage and there's not going to be children in the kingdom, right? And so this ends up actually counteracting that. And I'm guessing this might be the millennial reign. I mean, I don't know for sure. It could be the eternity that they're talking about. But it seems like there are children being born in the age to come when Christ is the ruler and everything is perfect.
I would align with that as well. Because of the observation of old age shall they complete in peace.
The other question would be, do you age in the kingdom? Is another question.
It's a good question.
And it might not be painful, right? Maybe the eternal bodies age, but it's just a number. It doesn't mean anything because they're not going to wear out their eternal bodies. So just an interesting concept.
Yeah, this last 1,000 years, I've always thrown around the idea of us going back to like when the age of man was set at 120 years. I think after the flood, if we actually went back to the length of age prior to the flood, like we lived to be 5, 6, 7, 800 years old in this millennial reign.
Yeah. It'd be very interesting.
Oh man, super good. Yes, Sister Serena, good question. All right. Okay, verse 17. And all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it. And the vine which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown thereon, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olive shall yield 10 presses of oil.
I mean, one thing that's interesting there is that because everything that mankind has done to plants with the genetic modification and all that has been undone, and it's been returned to how it should be?
Sorry, I apologize, brother. Got distracted. I was reading a message offside. Could you give that to me one more time, brother? I'm so very sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. And all the desirable trees will be planted, and that they're going to grow more than they've ever grown. Basically, one of my questions was, do you think that has to do with the undoing of what mankind has done to the earth in overworking the ground, not giving the ground rest, mixing different plants that weren't meant to be mixed, so forth, so on, genetic modification?
Yeah. To find out about Leviticus, how the law of the land was laid out there, and how you're supposed to let the land rest for a period of time, all that has to take place. I believe there's going to be definitely a rest period, potentially even like the 7-year cycle that exists. There's going to be a long period of rest and a reset, so to speak. We've actually heard about a reset kicked around a little bit, RV, revaluation, all these different things. But with that happening, I could definitely see once that steps in, there then being this. We go back to Levitical law. No, go back to literally what's written in Leviticus as the law of the land.
Should be pretty interesting to see.
Let's highlight a comment from Brother Josh. Just post it up. The only limit is 1,000 due to Adam and Eve. 120 years was the time to repent before the flood. After the flood, the environment changed, and a major part being the pressure in the air, which shortened life. Thank you, brother. Brother David, I theorized something pretty similar. Yes. Thank you, brothers. All right, verse 18. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth destroy from off the earth.
So if you could scroll back to 14 and then read 14 and then read 18.
All right. And destroy all the spirits of the reprobate and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy for evermore.
Mm-hmm.
Then 18, and cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth destroy from off the earth.
Amen. to me, 15, 16, and 17 are almost like their own parentheses or their own subcategories to like how that was going to be, looking like. And so it's like verse 14 and then verse 18 and right there in the middle, not that they're added, but more like they're descriptors. And you go from 14, you go to 18, and it's like, yes, yeah, man, like the angels are tasked to do something, the holy angels, and even Yahweh himself says like this will occur. And I like how the two of you are saying quite possibly it's millennial kingdom, quite possibly it's new heaven, new earth.
Agreed. The potentiality that exists for the thing, like when you start to put in the timeline, like everybody's talking about the timeline. When you start to plug it in and you start to actually realize that he made what's on the earth on the 6th day, the 7th day he rested, and you walk out the timeline, bro, it's so very close. So very close. All right. Well, that's the end of that. That is the end of chapter 10. So we'll park it here for this week, or this episode. If we come back this week, we'll see. But I gotta capture up chapter 11, or the next couple of chapters, present that. But yeah, brothers, any overall gleamings from chapter 10? Because last week we were full of sauce, and we came back this week and it was like, but second viewing of the same chapter with different perspective, but a definite resounding tone of this like millennial reign, this 1,000 years of peace, and the generation that's around, the potentiality of that generation not seeing its death. Have you guys heard about that?
Say that last part again. Sorry. I was noticing the translation I have is actually, like, I think they changed the ordering of the verses because I was following along and then all of a sudden I was at 22 as the verses and then it ended at 18 or 19 and I was like, what? But
yours ended at what verse?
It said 22 is the last verse in chapter 10 in mine.
Oh, well, what do you have past? Okay, hold on a second here. So what do you have past 19?
Well, the weird thing is 19, for me, 19 is verse 22.
Ah, okay. So there were verses in between maybe that perhaps either got split up or got edited out.
Let's see. Let's go. Can you go back one slide? Oh, wait, you already did, right? No, you didn't. There you go now.
There you go.
Let's see. I'm just trying to see. So for me, verse 17 is then all the children, or then all the righteous shall escape and shall live till they beget thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and old age they shall complete in peace. Then it goes on, tilled in righteousness, yes, the desirable trees are planted, bearing 1,000. Then it says, if you want to go forward one slide.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, brother.
And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression and all unrighteousness. Yes. From off the earth. Then there's verse 21 here in this translation. It says, and all the children of men shall become righteous, in a bracket there. And then it says, and all the nations shall offer adoration and shall praise me and worship me, and the earth shall be cleansed from all the. So I guess it's just a different organization, because I'm looking at the screen now and it did follow along. I think it was just the numbers being placed in different places.
Okay, that makes sense.
It might also be, I think this is like the 1940s translation of it in paper copies, so it's possible that in a more recent version they've rearranged the verse places to try to make it read better.
Yeah, sentence structure, like basically formatting at the end of the day. Oh no, formatting would be too loose of a claim. But structure.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't want to throw a tangent there. I was just trying to follow along and was like, wait a second. But yeah.
No worries. It's definitely a good point of observation because it gives us an opportunity to like look at it and understand. Brother Josh in chat just said there are three translations. So yeah, you have which one in your hand, Brother David?
I have the 1947 printing of the R.H. Charles translation.
Oh, okay, so you have a printing of the one that we're using, but the printing of the one that we're using is even different. Or
I think so, yeah.
Format different. Gotcha.
Because this is R.H. Charles, but it's the first published in 1917. I don't know. I mean, it really should be the same, but I don't know. That does happen. It's what is that? 70 years between now and then, so there's a lot of time for formatting.
Great. Brother Josh said Richard Lawrence and George H. showed us different verse breaks.
That makes sense.
So I'll park it on this one last point of discussion. I had heard way back when the generation that sees Jerusalem become a nation. I know Jerusalem became a nation in what, 1948 was it? Or is it Israel became a nation in 1948? What happened in 1948?
In 1948, the Balfour Declaration was signed by the British Crown and the Rothschild family to basically create out of the existing state of Palestine a nation referred to as the Nation of Israel, and then approve immigration from many Jews from Europe to go there and claim the land.
Meaning that a lot of people are suspect in the whole proceedings. However, a government called Israel does exist now.
Right. So what I had heard was the generation that sees this happen would not see their passing. And that to me is, our generation, whether you take like 100 years, you say 100 years, right? So 1948 to 2048, that's 100 years. The idea of introducing that time span that you're going to observe, which is 1948 to 2048, 100 years, and then look to see what happens with the actual kingdom coming. Like Jesus Christ himself returning to the earth. Because again, in that range, 1948 to 2048, we do have the mile marker of being post 2,000 years after he was put to death on the cross, which would be, we suspect to be 2,000 years ago. So there's a lot of stuff that's, again, syncing up from a time clock standpoint where I think to myself, wow, Revelations, we're sitting in it. Thoughts?
You mentioned the way you phrased it was the generation that sees Jerusalem become a nation will not see death. Is that how you phrased it?
Exactly.
The interesting thought I'd have on that is the Jerusalem that exists right now is not the same as the Jerusalem of King David.
Brother David, lost your audio.
Often you can kind of tell where their morality is.
Sorry, brother, we missed you, like a lot of what you said.
Oh, when did I go
out? Go right back to the beginning.
David Jerusalem. Yeah, David's Jerusalem, David Jerusalem, or begin from the beginning.
Okay, yeah. I was just saying the Jerusalem of the Bible that King David was ruling from at one point, and that Solomon ruled from, and that Jesus worked in, and the temple was in at one point. That Jerusalem still doesn't exist to this day. I mean, no stone was left, unturned with it. For instance, the Wailing Wall isn't actually the Wailing Wall. The interesting observation that you have if you take Jesus's words literally is that no two stones will be left on top of each other. So for those who say that that's the corner wall of the temple complex, it actually can't be, because he openly said it wasn't. So I don't know what wall it was. Maybe it was part of the border wall, or maybe it's a wall a different empire built later on. It has been co-opted to be seen as a sign of holiness, but it's leaven, because when the Messiah says something, it happens. So my observation with Jerusalem is, as he said, if the root is corrupt, then the fruit will not be good. The fact that the British Crown, who I think none of us would say we trust, and the Rothschild family, which I would also say none of us would say is trustworthy, are the root of this state of Jerusalem, I think would be good evidence to say that this does not have the hand of God on it in a positive sense. That if the hand of God is on it, it perhaps is a unworthy vessel, as is described by Paul at one point. There's like vessels for a worthy purpose and for an unworthy purpose. But I think it would be erroneous to assume that they are good because they're choosing the title of Jerusalem. I would more see it as perhaps referencing the Jews that say they are Jews but are not in Revelation. That would be my theory anyways.
Thank you, brother. All right, folks. Well, Elisa here for this episode. Wish you all a blessed day. Shalom Aleichem to you all. And we'll be back potentially maybe Friday this week. But if not, probably be back Monday. Otherwise, if Friday fails. Love you lots. Chapter 11 is coming up next. Y'all be great. Signing off.